Hey everyone, welcome. Did you know that literally billions of dollars are just sitting idle in digital wallets right this second? Well, in today's explainer, we're going to master something that completely changes how you interact with your money. We're talking about Venmo's digital velocity. We are taking a deep dive into the absolute fastest way to move cash from your Venmo app directly into your actual bank account. So whether you're a complete beginner to digital wallets or you're someone who uses Venmo every single day, you're going to learn exactly how to configure, execute, and troubleshoot your transfers like a total pro.
Look, we've all been there, right? You cover a massive dinner bill, your friends hit you back on Venmo, and suddenly you've got hundreds of dollars just sitting there in the app. But rent is due today, or you've got a credit card bill that needs paying immediately. Relying on the traditional banking system means hitting this massive bottleneck. I mean, if it's a Friday night right before a long holiday weekend, you could be waiting days just to access your own money. But what if you could bypass all of that and get your funds in minutes?
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's exactly what we're going to cover today. First, standard versus instant transfers. Second, linking and verifying accounts. Third, executing your instant transfer. Fourth, limits, fees, and timelines. And fifth, troubleshooting errors.
Section 1. The need for speed, standard versus instant transfers.
So the clear difference between these two pathways is that the standard transfer is totally free, which is great, but it relies on an older network and takes about 1 to 3 business days. The instant transfer, on the other hand, is like a modern financial superpower. It does come with a 1.75% fee, but it utilizes push payment networks to get your money directly to your bank or eligible debit card in under 30 minutes.
The absolutely crucial point here is understanding why that standard transfer takes so incredibly long. It uses what's called the ACH network, which relies on centralized weekday batch clearing. Essentially, if you start a standard transfer after 7 p.m. Eastern Time or on a weekend or a federal bank holiday, your transfer is literally just sitting in a digital waiting room until the next business day. Instant transfers completely bypass that clunky centralized system. They use networks like Visa Fast Funds or MasterCard Send, which operate 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. No waiting rooms involved.
Section 2. The setup, linking, and verifying accounts.
Now, when you manually link a bank account, Venmo obviously needs to prove that you actually own it. They do this by sending these tiny micro-transfers of less than $1 to your bank, which they then immediately withdraw. But I want to give you a massive warning right here. Please make sure you have at least $2 sitting in your target bank account before you start this manual verification process. Because if your account is empty, those tiny test withdrawals could actually trigger huge, expensive overdraft penalties from your bank. And trust me, nobody wants to pay a $35 fee over a 12-cent test deposit.
Another absolutely critical part of the setup involves your debit cards. You might think you can just add and remove debit cards whenever you feel like it. Actually, scratch that. There's a very specific number you need to remember. 4. That is the strict rolling limit of payment cards you can add to your Venmo account within a 6-month period. And here's the kicker. Even if you link a card and then delete it literally 5 minutes later, it still counts against your limit of 4 for an entire 6 months. And now, the Venmo support team cannot override this. So manage those linked cards very, very carefully.
Section 3. The execution, executing your instant transfer.
Now we're ready to actually move the money, and it's beautifully simple. First, you open your Venmo app and tap the Me tab. That's the little icon with your profile photo or initials. Second, look right under your balance and tap the Transfer button. Third, enter the exact dollar amount you want to move. Fourth, and this is where you make your big choice, select the Instant Transfer Speed. You'll actually see the calculated fee pop up right there in the app. Finally, confirm your details and hit that green Transfer button at the bottom. But hold on, before you tap that green button, you absolutely must understand this one rule. Instant transfers are final. If you make a standard ACH transfer on the mobile app, Venmo actually gives you a 1-hour grace period where the transfer shows up as pending. During that single hour, you can cancel it or upgrade it. But with an instant transfer, the velocity of the network is so incredibly fast that the second you hit confirm, the money is gone, done. It cannot be canceled, it cannot be expedited, and it cannot be recalled.
Section 4. The math, limits, fees, and timelines. Now, what's really interesting here is the transparent breakdown of exactly what this convenience costs. Because as we established, Venmo charges a 1.75% fee for instant transfers, but it's actually not a flat percentage across the board. It operates on a sliding scale with a built-in floor and a ceiling. So for example, if you transfer $10, you don't pay 1.75%, you pay a minimum floor fee of 25 cents. If you transfer $500, you pay the exact mathematical 1.75%, which is $8.75. But if you transfer a big amount, say $2,000, the fee caps out at a ceiling of exactly 25 bucks.
To make this super actionable, let's break it down into 3 zones. First, if you transfer less than $14.28, you're in the floor zone. You will always be charged 25 cents, which honestly means you're paying a disproportionately high percentage fee. Second, between $14.28 and $1,428.57, you are in the proportional zone. You're paying exactly 1.75%. And third, anything over $1,428.57 puts you squarely in the ceiling zone. The fee locks in at a $25 maximum, meaning your effective percentage cost actually drops the more you send. And because of that 25-cent floor fee we just talked about, it brings us to a very specific kind of funny number, 26 cents. That is the absolute minimum amount of money you can send via an instant transfer on Venmo. If you try to send 25 cents or less, the system will literally block the transaction because the entire transfer volume would be completely consumed by the fee.
We've also got to look at regulatory limits. By law, Venmo has to monitor transaction volumes. So if you just open the app and never bother to verify your identity, your transfers are hard capped at just under $1,000 per week. But if you take a minute to go into your settings and complete the KYC identity verification, just providing your legal name, address, and SSN or ITN, you unlock some massive capacity. A verified profile can transfer up to $19,999.99 per week, with individual transfers going all the way up to $5,000 each.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how Venmo calculates those weekly limits. Get this, they do not use a standard calendar week that just resets on Sunday at midnight. Nope, they use a strict 168-hour rolling weekly interval. So think about it like this. If you hit your limit on a Monday at 11 a.m., that space in your limit will not free up until exactly 11:01 a.m. the following Monday. It operates down to the precise minute of authorization.
Section 5. Anticipating roadblocks. Troubleshooting common Venmo errors.
Technology is absolutely amazing. Well, until it isn't. Sometimes things don't go exactly as planned, so I want to equip you with a quick diagnostic toolkit so you can troubleshoot your own app errors without waiting on hold for customer support. If your transfer's declined, it's usually for one of these specific reasons. If you see a 400 or 403 error, that almost always means you've hit one of those rolling limits we literally just talked about. If you get an invalid bank message, you likely have a simple typo in your routing or account number, or maybe your bank just doesn't accept ACH transactions. If your transfer is blocked by security, definitely check that the legal name on your Venmo matches the name on your bank account exactly. And if you see a bad state error, take a deep breath. That just means Venmo's own servers are experiencing a temporary technical outage. You just have to try again a bit later.
Now, what if your instant transfer takes longer than 30 minutes? First step, don't panic. Go check your actual bank statement ledger. And if you do end up calling your bank, you need to use the right terminology. Tell them you are looking for an original credit transaction, or an OCT, or a real-time payment. Do not ask them to look for a missing ACH or standard direct deposit, because instant transfers clear through completely different ledgers on the bank's backend.
All right, so we have covered the networks, the setup, the exact push-button execution, the fascinating math behind the scaling fees, and the toolkit to fix any errors along the way. You now have the exact knowledge required to take total control over the velocity of your money. No more waiting through long holiday weekends for funds that rightfully belong to you.
Of course, as a quick final note, the digital finance world moves really fast. Banking processes, fee structures, and app features evolve over time, so always consult Venmo's official help channels for the most accurate and up-to-date procedures. But now that you have the knowledge and the toolkit to instantly control the velocity of your digital funds, what will you do with the time you save not waiting on the banks? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.